Hail and meshes, welcome to Dragon Age Veilguard. It's me, Spot the King, and today I will show you my new archer build. And you will have a lot of fun time, so if you will try it. So, the build will rely on this bow on my back. Bow looking pretty amazing, like big octopus. And while all other archer builds will be relying on our precise shot, sniper ability, and they are pretty slow, this one is completely different. We will have 24 arrows and we will be able to shoot like this, basically like a minigun archer. So, as always, all of this stuff possible with our gear, right companions, and also the skill tree. And instead of going for wheel ranger specialization, as you can see, we are going for saboteur this time. For this build we need to go for saboteur. To make the full build, we actually will need to have a bunch of skills in bottom part of skill tree near the wheel jumper, in bottom right in control part. We want to have some points in saboteur, as you can see over here, and a little bit in sustain to make full complete overpowered build. And if you watch closely, we got basically this like circle line over here, half circle, and that's all the skills we need in their final build form. Still, to get your saboteur specialization, you actually need to hit level 20 to unlock your ultimate and these 5 nodes over here, and then level 30 to get Plague Arrow. And in reality, it doesn't matter how you go and approach this leveling part in beginning, but still I will give you some recommendations. So, in first 20 levels we start with evasive maneuvers. It's best skill in my opinion, like double dodge is insanely overpowered to evade enemy attacks. Then we go into the top part and we will gain precision after successful defense. And then as archer we definitely want to go to the bottom part, get this lesser momentum loose when we take damage, and our main skill, Reign of Decay. It's first skill for your archery, and you will use it a lot in early game, because when you use it, it staggers enemies, they basically stand in one place and you can have free time while shooting at them. And then we go into the top right, we get in arrow gains after defeating enemies, which is pretty nice in early game when you have when you don't have a lot of arrows. Then we get in close quarter combat, again pretty nice in early game, 15% more damage for enemies who are within 10 meters, which is again insane buff, especially you won't have a lot of power and enemies will come in close combat a lot. Then we get in damage versus armor, plus 20%, and Victory Rush, defeating enemy with a takedown grants necrotic weapons, and also will give us more stagger in our attacks. And if you explore a lot, you will find wolf statues that will give you skill points. So before level 20 you probably will be able to get all these skills over here. Let me explain what we get in. And basically I would suggest to you to get Unending Quiver first. Activating ability grants 2 more arrows. Again, will help you with arrow replenishment in early game. And then basically get all nodes over here near the saboteur specialization. So first of all we get in bow damage plus 10 and upgrading duration abilities to increase duration to upgrade radius or distance depending on the ability, but we don't have any duration abilities yet. We will use explosive trap to evade enemies, but again it's not duration abilities, so take it only after you get your saboteur specialization and you will understand what duration ability we will use. For now you can use static strikes, pretty nice duration ability too, but wherever. We definitely get an affliction damage per last 10%, we get an upgrade to duration abilities and tool abilities, and explosive trap is tool ability, and also we get in penetration plus 15% and fan of arrows skill, pretty nice skill to fire a lot of arrows quickly to defeat multiple enemies if you need to. But most importantly we need to go to the top left and get more damage per arrow count, which will increase our damage insanely insane when we get a full build with 24 arrows, and maximum arrows plus 2 will help with this. But also we get in Lightning Flask, duration control ability, and it's a really powerful ability for early mid game. You basically slamming down and you will unleash lightnings from you, which is pretty cool and powerful with nice electricity damage, and also enemies will be applied with shocked. Near this note over here, we can have more health, we can get more momentum, plus 50, while at low health gain deflect whenever you perfect dodge, and hitting enemy with a tool ability leaches 10% of damage dealt. So it's pretty nice stuff. We'll use a lot of tool abilities with this build, basically 3 of them, when we will be able to swap Lightning Flask when we get our specialization. But before, you can get physical resistance plus 10%, leaping shot over here, advantage duration plus 20%, upgrading tool abilities, getting primer duration, upgrading tool abilities one more time, and also your tool ability, Pilfer Control Tool. But these like 7 points won't give you a lot of power right now. So I recommend keeping it for later stages of the game, maybe towards the end of the game, and before you will be able to hit into Saboteur category. Actually, you can unlock stuff over here. You can get stagger from abilities plus 20%, upgrading duration abilities, generate 2 additional momentum from arrow hits, with double bonus on weak point hits, also getting arrow regeneration plus 20%, and Reeling Bolt projectile tool ability, with electric damage plus 10, gain enhanced damage after defeating enemy by hitting the weak point, and weak point damage plus 10%, so that's pretty nice arc over here too, before level 20, if you find a lot of wolf statues, but probably you already will be able to get into Saboteur, and this will give us insane physical damage ultimate first of all, and also Fortune's Turret. It's duration tool, basically my go-to ability. You just drop down a turret which deal pretty nice damage, and uses no mana cost, you can use it for free, basically for fun. You get more physical damage, and also upgrading tool abilities over here. And when you defeat enemy with tool ability, it will grant you Quickened, which will shorten cooldown of your abilities. And coolest part, all basically like tool abilities got no mana cost. That's why I'm using 3 of them. So basically 3 tools. In the end, it will be Pilfer to apply bleed to our targets, to steal potions, and also explosive trap to evade enemies, jump backwards, and basically turret just to control battlefield and deal some damage with this tool ability. Penetration plus 15% over here, and also duration abilities will increase arrow regeneration by 35%. So after you hit this note over here, I recommend getting here as fast as possible when you reach level 20. Basically you will have unlimited arrows for the remainder of the game. But when you reach level 30, you need to unlock Plague Arrow. You will be able to charge your bow, but you don't care about it. You want to use charged bow a lot with this build. You want to have this arrow regeneration bonus with more maximum arrows, and also every 5th arrow will be splitted in multiple projectiles, and every 8 arrow will grant you Precision. Precision is a great buff that will give you ability to critical strike with your charged attack, and you can use it, or you can completely ignore it. You can even like ignore this note and not take it. And that's basically like base of the build. That will give us a lot of power to our bow compared to our arrows, will give us nice abilities. But what we got over here is our actually like pretty important part, and I suggest you taking some notes in Lords of Fortune part over here before Saboteur, getting some notes in Sustain, and then actually in the middle of like level 20 to level 30 get all these parts over here, because they will upgrade your bow significantly. So first of all, we will take less damage from shocked enemies, we get more maximum arrows, and great buff, Light Armor Mastery. So it will give you more momentum, but most importantly it will give you more weak point damage. At the same time, defeating enemy by hitting the weak point will grant necrotic weapons for more necrotic damage with your weapons, damage versus armor plus 20%. And that's basically it, what you need over here. When you reach the final levels of the game, you can get more weak point damage. You can get this note over here to gain arrows after defeating enemy, and these 2 notes over here basically will upgrade your charge bow, but again we don't care about it. And penetration plus 15% is a nice rune, but overall this is bottom part is not very important for our build. So how everything works, you will understand by looking at our equipment. So everything will be based basically on Azure Bow. It's the short bow, but with advanced and increased hip fire damage. Hip fire is basically damage when you're using no scope and just quick fire with your bow. When you upgrade this bow, it will give you more maximum arrows, and then it won't lose accuracy, so you will fire with insane precision, and then it will give you more damage per maximum arrow capacity, so it gives plus 4% more bow damage. With our skills, it's already plus 8%. And basically with all our arrows, it's already around like 250% more. So damage is just insane considering we're just using quick attacks. For our swords, it doesn't matter, you can use any swords, but I like to use Golden Grass Blade. You don't need to upgrade this stuff, you just need to make sure you just run in some swords that give you some bonuses. This, for example, will give us defense, so just equip this sword and you will have bonus defense on your archer, which is really useful. Also, when you upgrade it fully, it will give you more defense per active advantage, and weapon attacks gain 10% of your defense as bonus damage, which is also nice stuff. For second sword, I'm using Nice Talon, nice sword that give us more necrotic damage, useful for our skills in the mid-game, and also it will give you necrotic weapons when entering combat, which is also nice. And don't forget, when you get the full build and you won't ever use your charged bow attack, you don't need this light armor mastery. Eclectic Armorer is what we choose over here. It will give us more maximum arrows, it will give us more weapon damage and more stagger. So the biggest problem for us, we are using Eclectic Armorer, and this means it will be hard to find a right combination. For example, the best helmet will probably be Forest Guardian Wheel, but it's medium helmet that gives us a lot of big point damage, especially considered Wheel Jumper Elite Strength. But it's medium armor, that's why I like Duelist Coat more. Duelist Coat will give us maximum arrows, and yeah, it's armor, with more hipfire damage and stagger on every fourth arrow shot. Coolest part, on maximum momentum we won't even spend our arrows if we upgrade this to legendary tier, so it's pretty great armor for our build. And that's why I like to combine it with Karaste's double hit. It gives us momentum, stagger on ability use, ability damage will be a lot higher if all share the same type, that's why I'm using 3 tool abilities, and it will basically not needed with legendary tier because our ability is not costing anything. Our ability is free of mana cost, so it can start working pretty fast. For my belt, I'm using Crow's Bandolier for physical damage, that's it, you don't care about any other stats. For amulet, I'm using All Mother's Cups for tool ability damage. And for rings, it's Graven Opal for more range attack damage versus barrier, and also weak point damage. And Bleeding Corvus for more physical damage. Again, you don't need to upgrade a lot of these items to legendary tier, you're mostly looking for bow. But again, this bow will work even at like 1-2 levels of rarity. Same for our Duelist Coat. It needs just to be like blue tier, rare, and that's it, and it will work. And for our Augments, they are really important. We need to use plus 20% hip fire damage on other bow. I like to use combination of damage at low health and damage at high health on my swords, with 10% defense on my head, and 30 defense flat at my coat, 15% weak point damage at my amulet, and for my rings I'm going with plus 2 max arrows and plus 25% tool ability damage. For abilities I'm using 50 ultimate on hit for my Pilfer ability, 40 attack speed for our turret, and also explosive trap will use minus 25% cooldown. And for runes it's 10% range attack damage rune with Shatter, and Ascent will give us 10% flat damage. The third rune is pretty unique, so it's Adrenaline. You will be able to get Adrenaline with fewer hits, but what is like the weird part about this rune? Actually, you can't get Adrenaline because we need to learn it. So Adrenaline lies over here, and what we can do? One of the ways we can get over there is to actually ignore all the points over here and basically like spend them like that, like ignore this resistance I got over here, and you will be able to get here in the extremely late game situation. Also, it won't be really powerful, you need successfully strike 10 times, actually like 8 times with our rune, to get Adrenaline. Adrenaline is nice, it will give you a lot of extra damage But what is like cool part about this rune and why you can use it without adrenaline perk, because you can just press on the rune and you will gain maximum adrenaline. Adrenaline gives you a lot of damage and basically you just pop it from the start of the fight and start shooting. That's it. That's how it works. 4 companions for this build. It actually doesn't matter, but again, best combination probably will be something like mage and tank. So it could be Belara, Amaric, or Nif, for example. All of them should have time slow and also replenish ability, with last ability should apply weakened. And then you need just one tank, like Davrin, that can use his taunt ability and ability to detonate weakened, if you like detonations. Same goes for Tash. So Tash is not really tank, she's more like damage dealer. That's why I use Davrin for more tanky guy. And it's time to show you this build in action, so it's really amazing. So basically how we start the fight, we got a few abilities and one of them can be used to disengage, so if enemies come close, like this assassin for example. Where is this assassin? Like whatever, I will use this bro as assassin. You can just use this bomb and basically escape like this. So, just from the start of the game, from the start of the battle, just drop down this turret and this turret can handle the fight almost alone. Don't forget to pop adrenaline, and basically how you play, you just shoot like this. It's pretty boring way to play and you actually can play like that. So you can just stand and move and shoot and damage, while it's not really like insane numbers like 9k with my other archer builds. Overall damage per second is pretty good. Just count time, it's something like 1, 2, 3, so it's like 4 seconds probably if you charge the full bow. For maximum 10k damage with my other archer builds. And here we're shooting 1.5k arrows, basically like 2 arrows per second probably. We're getting our adrenaline pretty fast. So our DPS, actual damage per second, is not that low. Especially if we combine it with turret, with all our abilities and skills. We're pretty like a nice and powerful guy. And being able to get our adrenaline for even more damage is also nice. We're playing on hardest difficulty, and yeah, as you can see, even like these big guys being damaged pretty like nicely, and we definitely can evade their attacks by using abilities if needed. But that's not how you actually want to play this build. You don't want to play it with auto aim, because we will be able to almost triple our DPS if we aim by ourselves. So all you need to do is to actually try and aim by yourself, and that's it. So we just need to run and shoot and aim at the same time, and that's why we need some sort of tank in our team or slow down time. In slow time it's a lot easier to shoot enemy weak points, but it's hard to see his weak point. So slow time and shoot. Weak point hits will give you like 2k damage per hit, a lot more versus barrier mages, like 2.1. Jeez, my aim is weird, but who cares? This definitely gives us a lot more damage, and you're free to play however you want. You can go with auto aim, you can go with basic aim, but you will be basically like minigun archer. Insanely fun, cool and powerful build at the same time. I hope you enjoyed this build and you will have blast playing it in Dragon Age Veilguard. Have a nice day and see you in the next videos.